No taxation without representation was the cry of the American Revolution. Thousands of our forefathers bravely gave their lives for that cause. However, 230 years later, in the country that their blood was shed for, that same principle is being violated. Did you know that today in the United States of America, there are law-abiding citizens who are obligated to pay taxes but do not have the right to vote? Citizens who are under the age of 18, and therefore too young to vote, are still considered by the government old enough to pay taxes. Because they can't vote, these minors shouldn't have to pay taxes. I am a 15-year-old U.S. citizen, and I mow lawns in my neighborhood. I was paid a total of $2,600 this year. After subtracting the cost of expenses, I had about $1,500 in income. According to current IRS rules, I will owe $300 in personal self-employment taxes. However, I do not have a say in how much the taxes are and what is done with the money because I do not have a vote. Any U.S. citizens who pays taxes should have a vote, and anyone who has the right to vote should have the duty to pay taxes. Since the 26th Amendment set the voting age to 18, minors cannot vote and they should not pay taxes. Minors need to be saving for college, not losing almost a quarter of their money to the government. Because minors can't run for office or vote, they have no say in what happens with the tax dollars that they pay. Throughout history, our country has consistently decided that whoever pays taxes gets a vote. In the early days of our republic, those who paid property taxes were allowed to vote. Those who didn't have property didn't get to vote. Women in the United States had the right to vote before it was common for a woman to work for a living, which would cause her to pay taxes. As soon as African Americans were released from slavery and allowed to hold jobs, they gained both the right to vote and the duty to pay taxes. Minors are the only law-abiding citizens in the United States that are being forced to pay taxes without the privilege of voting. Since minors don't have all the privileges of adults, why should they have the duty to pay taxes? It's like making someone pay dues to a club that they aren't involved with. It's not fair because they do not have a say in the decisions of the club. Minors are forced to support an organization in which they have no say. That is not democratic. So what should be done about the problem of minors paying taxes? Unlike many of our nation's problems, this one has a simple solution. Simply pass a law saying that anyone who is under 18 and therefore cannot vote should not be required to pay taxes. This would be a very simple solution to a complicated problem. How would the nation benefit by minors not paying taxes? Obviously, the minors would keep more of their money and the government would not receive as much through taxes, but I believe this would stimulate the economy and help prepare the minors for the future. Let's look at my situation. Under the current tax laws, I would owe about $300 in taxes. If I did not have to pay taxes this year, I would be $300 closer to saving for college, $1,200 by the time I enroll in a university in a few years. If I did not have the duty to pay taxes, I could choose to work about 125 fewer hours each year to make the same income, allowing me to spend more time on my studies. If minors didn't have to pay taxes, more of them would be able to afford college, and they would not have to work as much in college or in high school, so they can maintain higher grades, develop more hobbies, have more extracurricular activities, and thus be more prepared to enter the working world. Because American minors don't have a vote, they should not have to pay taxes. The privileged citizens have to vote, and their duty to pay taxes should go together. Minors could devote less time to work and more time to school if they did not have to pay taxes.